Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Pond, awards editor of TheWrap, and we're happy to have you here for our 2021 Emmy screening of The Mosquito Coast with actresses Melissa George and Logan Polish. We'll be showing you the trailer first, and then I'll go right into a conversation with the two actresses. For our audience, please participate in the live chat, share your thoughts about the conversation, let us know where you're tuning in from. And before I introduce the actresses, let's take a look at the Mosquito Coast trailer.
Gotta go. Oh, hey. How was work?
It was good. What are you reading?
So you figured out where you're gonna apply yet?
Dunno. Josh and I are still talking about it.
So that's still the plan? Follow Josh to school?
You and Mom were teenage sweethearts. And don't say you had a bond.
Margot!
You want me to say we had a bond?
Yes, I do.
We had a bond!
Everything's complicated, but there's always a solution.
Seen that car before. From the bank.
These people aren't from the bank. Hang on. Right now, we need to go. They found us. We're gonna get somewhere safe.
So long, America. Have a nice day.
What did he do?
I'm sorry. Shh. Pack one bag, be ready in 10 minutes.
How much trouble are you actually in?
Enough?
Not everything can be fixed.
Of course it can. The trick is actually wanting to fix it.
None of us likes this situation. Unless we do the right thing here, it will escalate.
What's about to happen might seem like imperfect parenting. This is going to be an adventure.
A bunch of fugitives are heading south to Mexico.
I had plans. Go to school, get a life. I can't just hide out with you guys forever.
What are you doing?
It's difficult to explain.
I'm interested in you, if you are who I believe you to be.
I don't think we feel very comfortable having this conversation.
Why are you doing this, Tim?
Why is he doing this to you?
Tina.
Where are you guys headed?
Welcome back. It's my pleasure to introduce Melissa George and Logan Polish. Let's start just by, for those who haven't seen The Mosquito Coast, let's just talk a little bit about what it is and tell us about your characters and how you got involved. I mean, it's an adaptation sort of a novel by Paul Theroux that was turned into a movie in the 80s, but it actually takes place before the novel, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a prequel, which is great. So it allowed all of us to really kind of come up with a new sort of version of this very famous novel and bring it to Apple. So I play Margot Fox, mama of Logan Polish's character, and we are a fugitive family on the run. We've been in hiding for 9 years with 6 identities. One phone call to my parents gets us caught, and we are on the run from what we will find out one day. And we are sort of brainwashed by my beloved husband, played by Justin Theroux, and we agree and we go on the run to what we've been told is our sanctuary, that a place in the Mosquito Coast that's going to take away all our problems. But actually what happens is all the problems of America end up following us.
Right. So how did you get involved? Now, you had worked with Justin many years ago on Mulholland Drive, right?
Can you believe that? He had the iconic line in Mulholland Drive, "This is the girl," and he was the director, and I was the actress auditioning for him in the David Lynch film. And 2 decades later, I receive a call from Justin to my agent saying, "Where's Melissa's tape?" And I had held onto the script for 4 months because I knew if I'm going to play, I want to be Margot. Like I didn't even want to do the casting. And Justin I couldn't believe when I heard his name. I was like, oh my God, it's Justin Theroux. And he called, he said, "I want you to be Margot." And I said, well, let me do the casting. And they loved it, obviously. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And in this particular case, we finished season 1 and we're all here to talk about it. So,
yeah. So Logan, tell us a little bit about your character. Obviously, you're the daughter.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, the kids, I mean, are definitely along for the ride on this one. I would say Dina a little bit less so than Charlie. She's very rebellious and sort of always questioning their every move. I always feel like she's sort of the audience's perspective in the show. Like she's always kind of asking the questions that everyone else wants to know and kind of always grounding everyone's sort of just chaotic thinking and trying to like just sort of, yeah, she's always just sort of really questioning the whole reality and not in the daydream that the rest of the family's sort of in. And yeah, and then you kind of see sort of her arc throughout the show sort of evolve into her becoming more adult and becoming more independent and sort of trying to carve her own life away from her parents, even though she's stuck with them. So it's very curious to see.
We're very much stuck together by the end. For sure.
I know.
This is a fugitive family of 4. There's 4 foxes in this family, and we're not leaving each other.
I know. By the end of it, we're all very in the thick of it, and you know, we kind of. I feel like we all have something to run from by the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. I think it is pretty essential that you have a character who keeps saying, what are we running from? What did you do? Because certainly as an audience member, you're asking exactly the same thing.
I know. Yeah. I know what they're...
Right.
I know what we're all running from.
I don't know what we're running from. I'm in the dark the whole time.
You do know.
Damn, Gabriel.
Tell you?
No, not yet.
I just love the concept of these very sort of irresponsible parents that think that it's best to keep their kids with them on this crazy journey. And there's a scene in the van which just cracks me up when Ali's character's talking about like philosophy about this family, why they're crazy. And, you know, Margot's rolling her eyes and she just gently asks her kids for this bag on the floor. And it's like you're just asking your kid to pass you something on the table, but yet it's a bag to go rob a bank. And they just leave their kids in the van. It's like, we'll be back, okay? Just make sure you lock the door. And they're very gentle, very maternal, you know.
So nonchalant. Just, we're going to go, you know.
Nonchalant. It's just normal. We need money, right? Do your kids want money? Are you hungry? Okay, we have to rob a bank. I'll be back.
We're running to Mexico. Come on, let's go.
We need fish. We need to drink tequila and eat lots of fish. So... So whatever we tell these kids just keeps going on and on and on and on until, you know, there's a moment there in episode 4 where you see, you know, Margot just do things that only a gangster's wife would know how to do. And I think the kids are just looking at like, wait, how did she learn that? Where did she learn that? That's fun. A lot of fun.
Right. So when you both got the part, I mean, had you read the novel? Had you seen the you know, the Harrison Ford film, or and did you then go to it, or did you stay away from it?
When I first booked the job, I watched the movie with my parents just to sort of see the sort of world we'd be entering. And I mean, it definitely gave me a sense of how chaotic it would be, just because all the characters, I mean, it goes from everyone being very clean to very burnt very quickly. Like, I just remember looking at Helen Mirren and going, oh my God, just like the aggressiveness of the environment. And so that definitely, I think, got me ready for sort of what we would be doing, just knowing that this wasn't going to be a smooth ride for anyone.
Right.
I didn't read the book at all. I wasn't aware when I saw the title, The Mosquito Coast, that it was a famous novel until everyone in Paris was like, that's the best book, that's the best movie. And then I knew that it was a reinvention of the role of mother in the book, and it's called Margot now. So I didn't need so much to outdo Helen Mirren, who's one of the greatest actresses of all time. I didn't feel like that was beneficial to me at all. And I just wanted to use Neil Cross's work and take it from there.
Mm-hmm. Right. So Logan, essentially you're stepping into the River Phoenix role, right? I mean, they changed the gender and that's your part?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I definitely feel like, because in the movie it was his perspective. It's kind of from the kid's perspective. And yeah, I'd say Dina is sort of definitely taking over that part for sure.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, I feel like for both characters, in a certain way, you're pushing against Allie, played by Justin Theroux. You're pushing against his agenda, but at the same time, not always. I mean, Melissa, your character, she sometimes pushes back against his plans. She sometimes doesn't want to go along with them, but at the same time, there are moments when you can see that she can't help but kind of be thrilled by this.
Yeah, I mean, there was a decision early on that when Margot's alone without Allie, you'll see the real Margot. When she calls her parents, she's cracking because she's really desperate, lonely, and scared. The minute she gets back to Allie's presence at the house, it's almost like she's brainwashed. She has her eyes glaze over. She becomes a different woman. His ideas seem all of a sudden magnificent. So it's almost like she goes into a trance when she's in his care, which sort of gets broken along the way because you start to see who Margot really is, and she starts to try and go against his ways and bring the kids to safety on her own without him. But like any dysfunctional relationship, you're really good, you're better off without each other, but you're not good with each other. It's just, you can't win either way. They're like Bonnie and Clyde. There's no Bonnie without Clyde. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So in a weird way, they need each other on this journey, and they can't survive without each other, and they just happen to bring their two beautiful children along with them, where they'd be much better off with her grandparents.
Yeah. So I mean, and Logan, Dina in certain ways is the one who is most opposed to what he's doing and most saying, why are we doing this? What are we running from? But at the same time, there are moments when she sounds an awful lot like him.
Yeah.
Oh, there's definitely, I think it's great because throughout the series, you just start to see how brainwashed these kids are kind of by their parents. It's like it's one of those things like you try your hardest to not be what you're becoming. And so it's like she's so against everything he is, and yet she's using everything he's taught her to sort of, get her out of certain situations. And I mean, I loved that because I even love playing just the craziness or like that sort of unhinged aspects of him in her. And I remember even going to Justin, and I remember him being like, oh, we should do a take where you like really try to like do some Allie in there. And like, especially in the last episode, there's sort of this moment where Dina really goes off on the family. And I remember doing some options that just had more of his madness. And I think that's really fun to sort of sprinkle him in there and sort of see just how much these kids are their father.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, as a group, you create this wonderful dynamic. We certainly buy you as a family under unusual amount of stress. Mm. But I mean, what did you do beforehand? Did you rehearse as a group, the four of you? I mean, how did you create the family dynamic?
We just didn't leave each other's side, right, Logan?
No, I mean, I want to say we really, like, once we went to Mexicali and we shot a month in Mexicali.
Oh boy, friends for life. Friends for life. There was the only savior was Logan, Gabriel, and Justin for me in that. Even though we were going through such a hard shoot, the fact that we could get back to wherever we were staying, because there wasn't anywhere to stay where we were shooting, and we'd be like, I'd see you downstairs in 5 minutes, just to be together, like that's lucky. That's just a fluke, really, to have four people that really want to be around each other. And I feel to make a relationship work, it's about time and spending time with those people, and we got that benefit of just being all together.
Yeah, we had a ton of time. I feel like.
Yeah,
that episode really, I mean, I think being on location really just attached us all at the hip because we had nowhere else to go or see.
Yeah.
It's just, that's it. So, and that was like the best sort of preparation, or, that was the best thing to do whilst shooting. It was like really got us into that family.
It's very rare to like people so much that you work with, like to the point where 5 minutes is just painful not to see each other. It's like, are we becoming possessed or obsessed, or is this healthy? Are the foxes doing all right?
Yeah, there's a bit of codependency, I think, between all of us, because there's
like the Fox Family Friday Fun Night. That's the best one.
Yeah.
We had the Friday Fox Family Fun Night. It's always at Justin's or somewhere, or I don't know where. And it was just so much fun. So great.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to listen to Justina. We call him Justina, by the way. He won't like us saying
Gabriella.
Gabriella and Justina.
Right. I mean, I would say creating your own sort of unhealthy family dynamic certainly is kind of in keeping with what you're playing, right?
Very much so. Very much so.
Yes, we took that to heart. I mean, it's just funny because you're right. It's like I find on so many sets you spend 12 hours together and you're like, now I can't wait to just go back and be independent and be by myself. But we did a hard right, and we're like, no, we actually need more time.
Come here.
The trauma of the show, actually, sort of, I think.
The trauma of the show, yeah. When they called a wrap, this always cracked me up. When we went back after the confinement to shoot episode 6 and 7, we were so close for so long. We went through so much. And by the time they called it's a wrap on the entire season, Logan had wrapped like a scene before and she was just out. She was just gone. Like, where's my baby? Where's my baby? And I just thought she was taking a flight back to America.
Anyone. No one said goodbye to each other. We were like,
Gabriel thought he was working that night. He wasn't, so he got wrapped. And it was just Justin and I like blowing up a car or doing something we shouldn't be doing, you know?
Yeah.
Just like all this intensity is just, it evaporates in a minute.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Logan, did you work together with Gabriel to get that, brother sister vibe?
No, I mean, it wasn't hard with Gabriel. I think he has 8 siblings, so he kind of, he naturally operates in this sort of constant banter with everyone, and he kind of makes everyone feel like you're his sibling.
He's the best.
Really funny, so I didn't have to do too much with him because I did go out of my way when we were in Mexico City and different locations to hang out on weekends or get lunch together. But I mean, it's wild because I've never so easily with everyone in the cast. It just felt like there was no effort. Like we immediately knew everyone's sort of repertoire and like how we all have the same sense of humor, which I think key because no one. I mean, we're all very have a dark sense of humor, so no one was taking anything personally. It was all just easy.
It's so good. So good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does look like you were shooting in some pretty remote locations and tough areas. What were the locations? Where were you shooting most? It was mostly in Mexico?
We were in LA to start outside of Los Angeles, and then we moved to the desert area just nearby. Well, not nearby, but in Mexico. And then we went to Mexico City. We were really, wherever Neil wrote the episodes, we actually got the luxury because of our production team to shoot in those sets. Then we went to Puebla, we were in Guadalajara, and then we begged the producers, please just send us to the beach for the last episode so we can have some thanks or some like, this has been really rough. And so we went to Punta Mita, Puerto Vallarta, and we got to really just sort of, but we went all over, absolutely everywhere. I don't think I've forgotten any locations, have I, Logan?
No,
that's where we went, everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple early episodes where it feels like you spend most of the time walking through the desert. I assume that you had some places that you could escape to and some luxuries when you were out there, but it looks like it was a pretty harsh environment.
No, we were dropped at 3:30 in the morning and told to keep walking.
Yeah, we were stuck. I mean, the funny thing is I think it took, because we were there for a month and it took us 3 weeks to figure out that Palm Springs was 2 hours away. Like, so in the headspace of it just being very brutal and the turmoil of it all. And then I think, Justin sort of did the math and he said, we can drive to Palm Springs. Like, no.
And I'm like, In-N-Out Burger?
Yeah. And we got in and out on the way there, in and out on the way back. And we
got so much, we literally were like with our luggage, walking with our luggage, pushing it for 45 minutes, finding a car in a gas station. We were the foxes going to get In-N-Out Burger to stay in a hotel.
Privileged foxes for sure. It was like we're the funny parallel.
Then we realized that Justin held us hostage. It was all part of his plan.
Oh yeah. We had no idea. He was like, I'm thinking of going to Palm Springs. Do you want to come? And we're like, sure. And then he like had just like totally swiped us away to like.
Oh my God, we were like, where's Papa taking us?
Yeah, we
Papa Justina.
Yeah.
Right. I've definitely been to that In-N-Out Burger off the 10 out there.
I won't forget that in a hurry. It was the best.
That was a pure endorphin release during those times.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so were there any other special things you did for preparation before you started shooting this?
I did a weird thing, actually. I spoke to a therapist as Margot until the third session. They realized I was an actress. Everyone laughs, but I'm telling you, it is very effective. We go to talk to somebody when we need help for our life, so why not go as Margot? And I think when I said I'm in hiding for 9 years, I have 6 identities, I'm married to a narcissist, I'm on the run to the mosquito coast in Nicaragua, they're like, oh, I would leave this man. This man's not good for you. So this was actually very, very healthy to get sort of some behavioral things and why she changed her job from being a professor to being working in a library. Teenage kids dealing with a man like that, and all sorts of things. So that only lasted 3 sessions, but it was very effective.
Right. So did they boot you out when they realized that you weren't really talking about yourself?
No, they actually said, I think you need to see somebody for coming up with that idea. So, but I actually think it's some of the best physical preparation, not physical, mental preparation and emotional preparation, because you really sort of get in the headspace as to why somebody behaves the way they do and how to deal with certain situations. So,
Logan, how about you? I assume you didn't go to those extremes.
Not go to those lengths. I mean, I didn't have to do. I didn't do too much preparation going into it because I felt like their lives leading up to where we meet them wasn't that crazy. I mean, I was assuming that we'd been homeschooled and we've been off the grid and there hadn't been many social interactions. And I was thinking, okay, that's similar to my life. Like, I don't really leave the house. I've been homeschooled for high school. I have very creative parents. Okay, I can pull from that. And then I would say I probably did the most preparation, going back after we had a, 6-month hiatus. And I sort of started journaling to sort of just process what we've been through, because I realized that this series takes place over a week. So I realized like there's no time that anyone's really processing what's going on. It's just a constant
that's a good point. Yeah.
Things. And so I just started sitting and like writing and kind of I wrote a journal, like as if Dina found a journal with like a pen and like started writing in secret and being like, so our dad did this and then this happened and then this person got shot and we're still doing this. And that kind of helped me even realize, like, as an outsider, holy crap, that we've been through a lot. Because I even think I got caught up in the series and I'm forgetting how much we're going through. It is just so much.
Mm-hmm. Right. So how much of the season's arc did you know at the beginning?
All of it. I think I was pretty informed by Neil from the beginning and Rupert. I mean, obviously, we didn't know quite the ending because we were going to do more episodes, but then we broke for the 6 months. So, each episode that came was a big surprise, I would say. But as far as the actual journey as to why we're on the run, that was all discussed in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just knew we were going to the beach. I just knew they're like, beach, that's the end. I'm like, okay, great. That's fine by me. I think Gabriel knew nothing. He was just like, I just remember them keep talking about like Charlie's gonna do something terrible and we're gonna have to I remember them having to figure out episode 7 throughout the whole season, being like, how is episode 7 gonna turn out? Like they were constantly trying to figure out how to get them out of this situation. Right. That was a constant conversation, which was fun to hear Neil talk about.
Mm-hmm. So they basically wrote themselves in a corner and then had to figure out how to get out?
Well, we actually had more episodes. I think number 7 was going to be something totally different. But then we sort of cut it short a little bit just to really wrap it up nicely. And a few episodes were pushed. So yeah, that would be tough to figure it out. But I'm happy with the ending. You, Logan?
Yeah, I'm so happy with what where the pandemic sort of pushed us story-wise, because I think it allowed us to hold more things close to, not give everything away, and sort of I think it also pushed our character arcs towards, you know, a direction that we otherwise.
We had concerns, we had questions, you know, about certain moments for the characters, and when you're on a series and it goes so fast, you don't have the time to have those questions answered in the right way, either with just a response from the show creator who's super busy, or just in the writing. And I feel like the pandemic really allowed, like what Logan was saying, just take 6 months, everyone take a breather. Let's really make the show that we want to make with the time that is on our side now, which is a rare thing. And it allowed Neil to really sort of recalibrate everything that we've been through, and to sort of finalize the season 1 in such a great way.
Yeah, right. I mean, obviously the parents know what they're running from. They know what they've done that put them in this situation. The kids do not. Does that mean, Melissa, that you knew all of that stuff, and Logan that you didn't?
I knew, I mean, I did have an idea of what they were doing, although I never tried to read like the nitty gritty. Like I didn't want to know, just for my subconscious. I'm like, it is good to sort of keep that at bay. Like I remember we'd get the scripts, and sort of when they're cutting back between the kids and Justin and Melissa's scenes, I would read them, but I wouldn't try to get too caught up on the specifics, because I think it is good to sort of be like, well, we're not supposed to know what's going on anyway. So it did help to kind of keep that on the back burner.
Right. But Melissa, you knew the whole thing from the start?
Yeah, from the very beginning, very, very beginning. I was fully aware as to where it was going, why, and I couldn't believe it, actually. I'm still a little bit like, okay. So that's good. I think it's good to have such a creative writer like Neil, you know, come up with such a story that only he could come up with. And to know it from the beginning is very helpful, because sometimes you don't want to know, but in this particular case, it's very important. There's something big going on, and we need to know why they're on the run.
Yeah. All right. So now you shot for a while, and then you had to shut down because of the pandemic?
Yeah, we were in Mexico City. We were in Mexico City filming Running in the Market, and literally got an urgent call. The borders were closed in France. I had to get on the last flight back, and I made it with the last flight out, and I spent 6 months in confinement. We weren't allowed to cut our hair. We weren't allowed to do anything. We had to stay as Margot. So I was Margot in confinement in France. If you can imagine what that looks like. That's a spin-off series.
And characters coming with us. It was fun. It was like, we're just gonna have this. It was definitely interesting, because there's always that relief of being like, okay, we're said goodbye, package that character up, okay, we can come back maybe for another season, and that's when we can open it again. But it was like, no, 6 months with these people, which was, I think, even, really, that's real method acting for you.
I got a call from Dante. I was over the summer, and I hadn't heard if Mosquito Coast was going to keep going, or if we're going to be lucky enough to wrap up or go back to filming. And I remember getting that call to say, no, we're doing everything we can to bring us to be the first production back after the confinement, and we're going to do it. I was like, oh my gosh, because it was almost like when you get that great role that you love, you almost, when they say it's too good to be true, it often is. And I thought, no, not this time, please, no. We have to finish this. This is something I love too much. And so we got that lucky call, and we were on that plane October, I think. Yeah.
So Logan, did you also have to spend that 6 months with Dina's hair, rather, because obviously she has a slightly different look than what you have?
Yes, that was really, yes. We had to sit with that, and then I think I gave myself a couple quarantine cuts in my bathroom. Yeah, I'm like, we had to hold on to them for a while. Even just holding on to I feel like there's just the whole mental aspect of you're constantly. I thought about the show probably every single day, because I'm just processing like where we've been, what we've done, and it was we got pulled out so quickly. It was kind of hard to process sort of everything that had just happened. We didn't even, it was kind of how the show ended and wrapped was sort of how we had gone on the hiatus. It was like, bye, said bye to no one. We all got on planes and left, which was really fun. It was the same thing.
when you started back up, I mean, what that was in October?
Yeah.
And how much did you still have left to do at that point? You'd been filming more or less chronologically, right? Because the directors would change with most episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do chronologically.
Yeah, we had a little bit of episode 4 left. I mean, they were doing like pickups here and there, so we had some of 4, and then we finished 5, and then 6 and 7 were, we started up.
That was hard because I feel like there was, episode 3 dragged on for months and months and months. You remember?
Yeah, and then 1 and 2 sort of sprinkled in too. Like I feel like
so no, it wasn't chronological at all. I think in our hearts and our minds it was very chronological, but then I'm having these flashbacks where this is the best part. You wake up, you go to your set, you go into your trailer, and you see the outfit from the desert, and you're like, whoa. I'm sorry, what's that doing in here? It's almost like PTSD. We would go into
definitely like, oh no, the makeup.
That on again with the makeup, with the dirt and the sweat.
Yeah, it was a physical resistance. Like I could feel like my body be like, no. We don't do episode 3 again. Could you please just cut me out of that moment? It kept coming back. Like they kept
coming back months. I think we were in Mexico at the very end, and they had to do a quick close up of episode 3.
They did. We're like, oh no, it's gonna.
I'm like, you can do this part, but I'm not putting on the on the other part. It's just not going to happen.
Right. So, how were there lots of new things you had to go through in the shooting once you came back from the pandemic? I imagine there were all sorts of new protocols that changed the way you could do it.
Everything was hard. I mean, we had double masked with a screen. I never saw the face of anybody for 2 months. I don't remember.
Yeah.
We had new people on the set. I never saw what they looked like.
I know, it's wild. We had new members of crew, and I don't know what they look like.
I don't know what they look like. Even still now, if I bumped into the street, that's so hard to not have the facial connection. And we had to stay in our bubble, so there was different numbers and names, and we had to disinfect shoes, clothing, homes every 2 days. We did PCR testing every 24 hours. We didn't leave our homes. We went straight from home, car, set, home. That was it. But actually what it did, it was condensed the reason why you're there. It's not to sightsee. It was to work and to go and be Margot and be in the Fox family. And actually, weirdly, my concern was just the awkwardness of it. Will it take away from the performance? And at the end of the day, once we got into a rhythm, it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say it definitely organized things and created an efficiency that I think many sets lack. So it was nice because it created such an organized system for people to come in, do their thing, and then that's it, and they have to leave, and then the actors have to do their job. And that was definitely a nice routine to fall into, and I feel like something that we've always lacked in those sort of environments.
Less people around that don't need to be there. Certain groups don't mingle, so it allowed us to really focus on the scenes without getting distracted by what else is going on over there. So weirdly, I think a lot of what we learned from that will probably continue, even as we go further into, without COVID, and hopefully.
Yeah.
We all had mask lines, like.
Oh my goodness. I know there's
we're rolling. It's like, no, we're not rolling because we have 5 minutes to let those mask creases get away from everyone's face. So I'm sure you're going to see just like red noses in episode 7 and just mask lines and everything. But, we made it through. It was a miracle. By the last scene, when they said, TheWrap, we did it. That was the purpose of going back. But it wasn't easy for anybody.
Yeah. I mean, besides the physical hardship of walking through the desert, were there other things? I mean, there's some stunt work, and there's a fair amount of action in this. Were you was there stuff that physically was tough?
Iraqi town, I found, Logan, don't you think? Just climbing up to the top of the mountain, which took an hour, and to do one take with the monster truck, and just running to Iraqi town, then going back up the mountain. And
yeah, I think Mexicali was definitely the most wearing because it was walking, and it was walking every day, and then also just every base camp was 20 minutes away, so it was always like we were stuck on set all day, and And then we didn't even have, I mean, it's so funny, but we didn't even have like Wi-Fi or any connection to the outside world to sort of mentally escape. So you just sit there in the chair.
There's photos of us on, all fours, just, on, I think Logan posted it, just like all fours of me just hanging over, like.
Yeah, everyone just like would put their sort of coats on each other, like on themselves. And
tenting ourselves.
And yeah, that was really hard. And I think, every time we were doing a lot of the stunts that I did were always at 3 or 4 in the morning. So I think that was always hard, like, having to just keep running. And you're like, oh my God, the sun's coming up, and you're like having to crash a car. You're like, whoo, okay. It's really hard, but it's always really fun because it's that moment you look around and you go, it's 5 in the morning, the sun's coming up, and we're running and we're on the run. Like, it's such a weird contrast. No one else has this job. It's so wild.
They don't shoot me after midnight because I'm a giggling mess. Actually, Logan knows it's after 7 p.m.
Oh, after 7, Melissa's done.
We're done.
We can't.
We're done. She actually, sometimes when we're laughing so hard that we're crying, Logan just looks at her watch like,
yeah, dinner. I'd go.
We lost Melissa. I don't know what happens. I just get so late. I just start laughing. There's no dialogue. We're done. I have to wrap.
Right.
We had fun. It sounds like we had a lot of fun. I think we did.
Yeah. So I get the feeling that the early episodes were mostly directed by men, and the later ones in the season were mostly directed by women. But it does feel like there was a pretty even mixture there.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you have to. We don't have to, but we just found the best female directors, and I really feel like that when as Margot got stronger and more sort of pivotal and more the patriarch of the family, I think that's when we had the female directors really sort of boost that, and I think you can really see it. But yeah, it's not done on purpose, I wouldn't say, but I think with having Natalia, she's a woman and she's from Mexico, and that's when the set really got comfortable, I think, because we have a Mexican crew and it's Spanish, and I feel like she could really communicate with them and bring out the best of the crew from where we were filming. And that really gave us, but Rupert, nobody can replace Rupert in the UC.
Yeah, Rupert.
He's just amazing. He's amazing. So, woman, man, doesn't really matter. It's really good for the part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I feel like the whole idea, the premise of this, the whole idea of getting off the grid and not trusting the government and trying not to really be a part of society meant one thing in 1981 when the book came out, when it was sort of the aftermath of the counterculture in the 60s, and now it feels like it's associated with something very different but still anti-governmental. I mean, do you feel like this story changes over time in what it means to viewers?
Definitely. I think it applies differently because we're dealing with, consumerism at a all-time high, and technology and everything's sort of become temporary. Like, everything's so just, you use it and throw it away. And I think that's I think to my generation, at least, there's and what Dina says and what Ali says, there's going to be a lot that people can relate to. And also I think there's a different amount of catharsis just given the past year, because people have gone through so much. I think it almost applies even more because people know what it's like to now constantly deal with not knowing what's going to happen next. And that's where they're going to be able to sort of plug into the family and go, oh, we know what that's like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Melissa, do you have thoughts on that?
I mean, look, I don't think it changes much. I mean, everyone wants to be, I think now more than ever, like what Logan was saying, it's now more than ever, we would love to we realize more what's important in life. We've gone back to the basics. Consumerism, unfortunately, is at an all-time low, but I'm happier, weirdly. I'm happier when I have my loved ones with me and I have less things around. My dream since doing Mosquito Coast is just to go and sail off and drink tequila and fish with my kids and do not much more but find safety. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a very timely show right now, for sure. First time, like I I often feel like, you know, I'm at the right place at the right time, but sometimes things come too soon. And I feel like for the first time, the Mosquito Coast is quite relevant right now and relevant.
Yeah. Do you see the show continuing for additional seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's much more to explore, and I think there's, I feel like the first season sort of just establishes sort of everyone. I think by the last episode, we finally see who everyone is, and then, you know, season 2 is almost to now like explore those dynamics deeper and hopefully.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't even get to the Mosquito Coast in season 1.
I know. Season 2's got to be the Mosquito Coast. Like, we're fine.
They're gonna have to change the name.
If we get there, I mean, who freaking knows?
It's called almost Mosquito Coast.
Yeah, it is odd that this is the Mosquito Coast before you actually even get to the Mosquito Coast.
Yeah, you really drive
very clever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's lots more to talk about, but I think we need to wrap up. But you know, thank you both. For the audience, thank you for joining us today. It was great to have you here. Be sure to take advantage of our free trial TheWrap Pro to be the first to know about upcoming screenings, because we are going to be having a lot more during Emmy season. You can also register for screenings or catch up on past screenings that you might have missed by visiting TheWrap.com and going to the screenings tab in the main navigation bar. Melissa, Logan, thank you very much.